USC has looked really bad, okay? Like USC, maybe they were overhyped, or maybe they were just like, oh, this team is a great offense. Look at Sam Darnold, or look at all the athletes on the team. See, I thought USC was going to be playing better than this, okay? And I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just overhyped, maybe it's just their young kids, or maybe they just ran into athletes that are as good as theirs. But, like, the first week, Western Michigan, I forgive them for that because they came out in the fourth quarter and they played with the type of fire that they had to play with. But this Texas game, they failed 2 fourth downs, gave up so many points. Like, it just... Like, you shouldn't be close with If Maryland can score 51 on Texas, you should be able to score at least 40 or 30. See, you did score 30, but it took you double overtime. You understand? You didn't score in the first quarter because you blew the only chance you had at scoring. And then, like, this is what USC's doing. They're wasting their possessions. Like, I'm watching some of their games. Like, they have good... Like, their wide receivers aren't making catches. Their running backs aren't breaking the holes. Sam Darnold's throwing picks. Like, they just don't look efficient. Like, they look... Like, in week 2 against Stanford, they looked crisp. They looked like that playoff team everybody was talking about. But in the first week and the third week, they just looked like total shit. I mean, at least in week 1, they were able to pull together and score 49 points. But in week 3, like, against Texas... They didn't score a touchdown all the second half. All they got was a field goal. And they had some great drives growing. You got to punch it in, you know? Like, honestly, I just don't know what is happening with them. They're a good team, lots of talent, everything all over the place. And they're not clicking right now. And I think most of the fault has to fall on Sam Darnold. Because he's the engineer of the team, right? If he cannot engineer the plays properly or engineer the pace of the game properly, this team is just they're not gonna mesh well. They're not gonna like be able to like properly function. And I think the problem maybe it's Clay Helton, maybe it's the play calling that's not working. But whatever it is, like you gotta find a way to click. You're a 4th ranked team, you know, college football is fast. Right? And this ranking, like, they have to play Cal this week. Cal is looking solid. They play Washington State. Washington State's looking solid. They have to play Utah. They lost to Utah last year. And you got to be crisper when you play these opponents. Like, when they're playing, like, Texas. I mean, they're a crisp team. They're a good team. But they're not like Alabama, right? And you don't have to go to overtime to beat those type of teams. Like, the games you have to win fast are the games you have to win fast. Because college football... It's going to be those games you don't expect that are going to be competitive and fast, but then you have to compete in the games that are actually hard. So, like, when you play easy opponents, you have to close them out and beat them easily. Like, Stanford is a great team, great program. So the fact that they beat them by that much, that's a huge boost, and I thought they were going to just take it into the next week and win that big game against Texas. See, sometimes the problem is also, like, emotions. Like, emotions get the best of you, and then you can't play football. You're just sitting there being all lovey-dovey, emotional. But I still think it was emotions. I just think it was like, oh, like, we just didn't come out with the right amount of fire to play the game. Like, I've seen USC in the Western Michigan game. I saw them in the Texas game. They just didn't play with enough fire. Like, when they played against Stanford, their fire was lit. Deontay Burnett was catching passes from them all over the place. Blah, blah, blah was getting it. Sorry, Ronald Jones was getting it done. You know, everyone was clicking. The team chemistry was working. Everything was going fast. Good. Darnold was playing well. Their defense was getting stopped, you know. But in this game, even though defensively, they played really well defensively. They held up really well. Only 17 points. You know, the offense didn't score well. But defensively, personally, for all the times that USC punt the ball, the defense had a good answer, making them re-punt. But you can't... It turned into like a punting battle already. Early on, it was like a punting battle, and they missed their 4th downs. And it's just, when you're the number 4 team in the country, you got to be more efficient. You got to, like, it's just... I don't know. Maybe it's overhyped. Maybe they're just not that good as everybody thinks they are, you know? Maybe they're just like, oh, maybe they're just like that team that's just, oh, they're good, but they're not that good, maybe, type team. But I just think like USC has the potential to do something more and be a better team. So I don't, personally for me, it's just kind of sad to see them play like that. And I think they will pick it up. I don't like now. It's like two different USCs, right? I do think USC will pick it up when they play weaker opponents like Cal and stuff. Maybe it was just like an athletes thing. Like they were saying this on TV, and I was saying this earlier too. When you play athletes of the same stature, like athletes from the same, like it hurts sometimes because it's like, oh, right, like you're playing of your same stature, meaning like you're playing athletes like, oh, Texas has good athletes too, so the athletes like athlete versus athlete, so then the difference between the teams goes down because the recruiting is the same, right? See, I think Tom Herman did a really good job in that game, and I think the coaching-wise, Tom Herman has an advantage because he was 6-0, and he almost went 7-0 because they were 45 seconds away from pulling that upset. See, and that's the USC that needs to show up. The one that showed up at the last 45 seconds and in the overtimes. That USC needs to show up all the time. See, they played Stanford really, really, really well. Okay? Like, I want to give them immense amount of credit because Stanford is a great team, and Stanford lost to San Diego State, but that might have just been like, I don't know, that might have been just like a hangover or something. Like when Stanford played USC, there's a crispness, there's a blah, blah, blahness, right? I mean, there's a greatness, right? Like Stanford, like they might play bad against San Diego State, but when they match up with the Pac-12 teams, they're going to play well. So USC, they're looking rusty. I think it could be overhyped. We'll find out in the coming weeks. It's hard to tell right now, but we'll see. I think USC will bounce back. From these terrible performances. They do have to face a couple of tests this season, so it's going to be interesting to see how they will face the kind of adversity that they did almost losing. And it's kind of adversity, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they take this seriously and grow from it and move on from it.